Quench, where you ask, we answer.
And we're back. Now, before we went on a break, we tried to define leadership and we wanted to talk about it. So we talked about what does a leader do when you feel like you're not fulfilling the leadership mandate? When you feel like you have a few shortcomings in leadership and you feel like I'm not a leader enough. And we talked about it. Then we went around and we asked people, do you own a voter's card and are you over 18? So I can assure you, majority of us are over 18. That one was positive. As many as the members who are over 18 say aye.
Aye.
Oh, okay. So, and then now we went around and asked how many of you actually own a voter's card. As many as the members that own voter's card say aye.
Aye.
And then we went around and asked how many of you voted. So as many as those that voted say aye. There are your numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, voting for the young people is becoming an actual issue. So I want us to talk about it, okay? I am going to start with you. Because she's the politician in the room. I bet she has pointers and pointers when it comes to these things. Why do you think young people do not want to take up initiatives in governance? Why do they not want to vote? Why do they not want to be involved in that particular sector of leadership?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we haven't done much as a country, and that's something that actually we are trying to do, is what we call participatory democracy. We haven't had a lot of spaces where we can have young people actually participate in political process, young people getting a chance to be able to get involved and be able to know, why should I get involved in politics? Why should I know what's going on in my ward, for example, just starting as down as your ward. So I think what we need to do is, and this should actually happen both political parties, the different wards and different counties, have young people actually participate in political conversations and have them be able to talk about some of the challenges. And also as leaders, we also have to make sure that some of these challenges are probably raised by these young people. They should see them being fulfilled. Yeah. So I can probably invite a couple of you and we have a conversation on, let's say, our county budget and say, oh, as young people, we feel that we need probably to be able to have spaces where we can actually be able to maybe practice our talent. So for example, we need to have open spaces so we can play basketball, or maybe we can play table tennis, and we can actually be able to develop that talent. Some of you will say, okay, we need open spaces where we can actually be able to learn music, a free space where I can go record my music and all that. And this is just open for all. So if we have these conversations and you see them actually implemented maybe a year later or maybe after 6 months or something like that, that would actually have young people being interested, like, okay, so meaning that if I say something, it's being done. Yeah. Okay. So, and I think that's the reason why we don't get more young people participating, because it's like, oh, why should I participate? And yet, nitaongea na hakuna kitu kitafanyika.
Yeah, that is actually very common.
Like, I'll say something, but then this thing won't be done. And so, once we can be able to help young people participate in these conversations, in this participatory democracy, and have their voice being heard, and have their voice not only being heard, but their voice actually being implemented, then there's going to be a lot of interest for them to be able to feel that I need actually to wake up very early in the morning to actually go and vote for that person that I feel, because they're actually going to help me implement my voice. Okay? But the moment that every time they try anything, it's not being implemented, nobody's hearing about it. So then it's like, why? Why should I waste my time and go and I'll go to vote? And yet the people are actually going to be sitting down somewhere, making decisions, and they won't care about my perception about the decision they're making. So, and I think that's the reason why you'll find that most young people in Kenya, and I think that's probably an African problem, they don't participate in that. But if you look at some developed countries, for example, in the US, most young people actually vote. And I think also another thing, we're still developing as a country, so we don't have many mechanisms of voting. Yeah. If you could actually be able to go online and actually vote, then most young people can actually be able to vote. But then you have this young person who probably before 5 years ago, maybe they took their voter whatever in a particular constituency, and then a month later they're actually in another town. You're telling them to travel to that town so that they can actually be able to vote, then it becomes a problem. Maybe they don't even have the fare and all those kind of stuff. So I think those are some of the things that probably we need to look at. Yeah.
I think let's hear it from the young people. Why did you not vote? Why did you not vote? He said there's that reason of why am I even taking time? There's nothing that's going to change, okay? So that excuse is so much there. And then also, why am I participating in any sort of governance? Why am I attending this meeting? No one is going to listen to me. No one is going to talk. Just tell me, in your own personal way, why did you not vote? Why did you not vote?
Okay, personally, I think it is because of arrogance. Yeah. So I was thinking, like, for me the place where I'm supposed to register for the voter's card is the place where I'm supposed to vote. So I didn't register because I was in Nairobi, and during the election I'll be in Eldoret. So that's the reason.
Oh, okay, that's valid. We have excused you, eh?
Okay, for me, it's the same reason. The time where we were supposed to register as voters, I was in school. So, and elections in Nipate Nakuru. So, there's no way I engage for a voter's card. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyone with a different reason from that? Because if we all say that, then we are going to just go back to the point of you can't tell this people to travel to vote. Yes, let's take it back.
Okay, it's Joseph here again. Let me say, okay, my reasons why I didn't vote.
How many?
There are reasons anyway. Let me say, first of all, is the issue to do with geography and maybe locational displacement. Unapata, maybe the time that you did maybe register for your voter's card, you were maybe in school. So the moment you are given maybe an holiday for the same, now uli register ukiwa shule, been located somewhere else. So unapata there's a challenge on the same. Then okay, my second reason why I didn't vote, okay, now touches to the aspirants in particular. So we find, okay, most of these aspirants, their ideas are the most obvious ones, and maybe they are cliches. We are used to them. They treat us as maybe guinea pigs. Maybe we are not literate enough to understand that the ideas that they are giving to us, they are not logical enough to be accrued or to be done. So unapata mtu anakuja, okay, with very poor objectives, very poor manifesto. So now some of us were like, okay, among all the candidates, there's no one who is maybe addressing the issue that I wanted to be addressed. So why do I have to go and cast my vote? Okay, maybe, and waste my vote, if I may say. So those are some of the ideas that we consider before going to waste our votes, if I may say. Let me say on my part, that's the reason why I didn't vote. They were coming with very poor objectives and maybe very poor reasonings, and now they are treating us like the Vijiji men, the Vijiji people. Yeah. Are we really?
We are not.
No, we are not. So let me, okay, a recommendation for them. They should upgrade, and at least again, they should also try to find out and scheme mechanisms to reach out to more people. Because you find, okay, someone is maybe campaigning and someone is maybe running for a given post, then okay, you are not influential enough. As we have said, a leader is one who is able to lead a group of people from a point of what? Influence. So these people, they have never shown themselves. Now they come the last day of what? Of the voting, like 2 days or 1 week too. So you are like, my friend, why do I have to listen to you?
And I don't know you. I have never seen you before. You're not even talking about the things that are actually bothering me. Your manifesto is like a plagiarized copy of what has been since time. Let's just give it to another person, yes? Why did you not vote?
For me, I voted.
But why did you vote?
I'll try and tetea the youths.
Oh, why did you vote actually?
Yeah.
Why I voted?
Yes.
I just ilinipata tu. Actually,
have that answer.
Actually, sing a vote. So I want to speak for those who didn't vote.
Okay.
So the youths always feel like they are left out because these politicians will come with their manifestos that they give us these hopes, false and vague promises that after electing me, I'm going to do this and this and this and this, which are all lies. And then after getting the seat, they're nowhere to be seen. And then they will come back after 5 years that, oh, youths, you know what? We have great plans for you. just vote for us. So we feel like wanatubeba ujinga, wanatubeba like
You feel like your voice is not valued as per
yeah,
se.
wanna
You keep
to
saying the
beba.
same things, then nothing is
and then
happening.
nothing is
And
happening.
then 5 years later, they're back there. The politician in the room. This is why the people in this room did vote. And we say they statistically represent people. Now, before we move into another sector of leadership, we're going to be talking about economic leadership. Let us talk about political leadership, yeah? The youths are not taking part in governance because they don't feel valued enough. Whose fault is it? The youth, the government? But don't really answer it like that. Just tell us, bridge the gap between what is and what ought to be.
Okay, so first, as just many of them have said, that for a long time, we've had politicians use us, the youth. I'm saying us because I'm also a youth. It reached a point before deciding to join politics, I would also get tired. It became a norm in Kenya such that you get politicians get to look for youths when it's only time for elections. It's like we are used as a voting bloc only, and after elections, it ends there, right? So my colleague here mentioned something about political parties. The politics in Kenya does not really start at the ballot alone. It starts at the political parties. How many youths are able to be represented or to take part or even be part of the leadership of our political parties? I happen to have been a leader, well, in the youth league of my party, ODM. I'm happy that my colleague was in my former party. I was also a member of Labour Party, but I moved. You know, politics is about interest. You go where your interests are served. So when we moved to ODM, then we were able to speak up and be able to raise our issues that we want the youth to be involved. So for a long time, youths have felt it like we are just used as a voting bloc. No one gets to hear our views. And that is why when we come to a new election period or era, the youths are tired. You feel like, why am I voting? Where am I going to be included? If at all, after elections, no one will even care about me. And it's even happening currently.
Yeah.
Just after the finished elections, we are having people still complain that this government was telling us of including us in their government. But how many youths have been appointed as we speak in the current government? If it's not quite a number, then it's none, right? So how do we bridge that gap? First, I'll start with the political parties. And I'm happy that though my presidential candidate didn't get to win, but he kind of implemented. I'm speaking this as an example. I was able to be included in the Secretariat of Azimio. Why? Because our party leader felt the need to have our voices included. Because if he was going to talk about implementing youth issues, then he needed our voices. He needed some of us who are representing a majority to have him listen to such issues, such that when he has a manifesto of this, then his manifesto is able to address issues that us, the youth, relate with, right? That is one way. Number two, how many of us here even take that initiative of getting to know? Let me start and say with an example. Right now we have county governments, right? New county governments. Most of us here come from different county governments, right? Every new government or every new county government has to have a 5-year plan. So they're going to have something called CIDPs, County Integrated Development Plans. This is a 5-year plan that the new county government makes on certain issues of development. If it's going to touch on infrastructure, it is going to get views. And this CIDPs is how it's going to involve them. So as youths, do you take this initiative to be part of such forums? They're mostly in common language referred to as public participation forums, right? So do you as a youth take that initiative to even go there, be part of it? Because if you don't really take part in this, then you feel like this county government haitushuguliki. Where were you when they were taking views for them to implement? Because had you been in the public participation places or forums and said, because the governors are there, your MCA is there, sometimes your MP is there, your women rep is there. So all these leaders you get to elect are there to hear of your views. So if I'm a youth, I want youth issues addressed. you're not there, who is really going to address your
Who's
youth
going to
issues
talk about the
if
issues that
no
you
one
have?
is there to even talk about your youth issues? So number 2, as I'm saying, you need to take initiative and be part of this, be part of the government.
Yeah.
I was once invited here, and I will keep repeating this, that there's nothing for you without you. If you're not able to be there, then don't expect something for you to be there, right? Number 3, you started the conversation by asking, do we have a voter's card? Do you know it is your right from the Constitution? It is your right to vote. So if you don't go to vote, then you're not exercising that right. Chapter 4 of our Constitution talks of the Bill of Rights. So we tend to, mtu akikukosea, polisi akikushika, unamkumbusha, I have a right, I have a right.
Yeah.
Lakini
But
elections
it's
is
time
where
to
you draw
exercise
the
them.
line, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it is your right. Take responsibility as a citizen, as a patriotic citizen, to
Yeah.
be able to elect a leader, not just a leader, but as a leader who is visionary. He talks of participatory leadership. Elect a leader who is who has a participatory kind of leadership. Someone who will listen to you, someone who is easily accessible, someone who is a change maker, someone who wants to change the situation. And lastly, as I finish, be someone who holds your government into accountable. That is why I know we were in the opposition, but as youths, you should also be able to make your government or your county government accountable. If they promise this, then you have channels of addressing your issues to remind them this is not what you promised. So in doing so, keep them accountable. Always keep them accountable. And I think we'll be able to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When you talk about accountability and taking initiative all at once, I think it actually answers the question of leadership. A leader is someone who takes initiative and is actually accountable. You don't say you will do something, or you're not entrusted to do something and then you don't do it.
Yeah.
Exercise that duty, exercise that right. Now, when it comes to political leadership, there are so many reasons as to why somebody wouldn't vote. But one of the biggest one is that you think it is not, perfect. 10 years down the line, you have the same government. It is you out there that is being affected. There, we finish on that. Let us talk about economic leadership. In one of the segments, we talked about the chaos that are in this chaotic world. And one of them we said is economic hardships. How are we as the youth supposed to deal with economic issues as leaders? How are we supposed to create a niche where we can actually exist in? And I want you, because you're a CEO, okay, I would ask you your age. But let's just assume he's a youth.
No, actually, I'm a youth. Yeah.
There
I'm
we got a
exiting youth
confirmation.
next year.
Oh, well, congratulations. Well, you're still a youth. Talk to us a little bit about bridging the gap of economic hardships, okay? Because at this age, we are structured. Our education system is structured to see through employment. By the end of the day, it's supposed to be a circle of things, and then you end up getting employed. But the jobs are not there. How do you ensure that you create that niche for yourself? How do you bridge that gap?
Yeah. So, So I think one of the best thing about the generation that majority of you guys are in right now, which they usually call it Generation Z, Gen Z. Okay. And so you find that most of you guys are quite, number one, you're very exposed, you're exposed in so many ways. I mean, all of you guys have social medias and all that. You guys are exposed in terms of internet. At least all of you here know what a computer is. And you can be given a laptop, you'll open it up. You can go to a browser, you can Google something. Like that's something that so you have a lot of information. Okay. And so because you have that kind of information, then you're actually able to, number one, learn easily. And then number two, be able to easily find your interest. Okay. And the good thing is that in your interest, there's always opportunity there. Okay. Depending on what you really want to do. So for example, if you're passionate about music, okay. If you're passionate about music, you follow music in terms of getting to understand the different artists, getting to understand what kind of music do you like, getting to understand do you want to be a music writer? Do you want to start singing? You can easily follow that, okay? Because the good part is that all this information, you'll find that Somehow you'll find it online. You'll find a lot of information online and all that. So that's what makes you guys quite apart from maybe our mother's generation, where everything used to be analog. So, you know, with that's why we say tumetoka analog, tumeingia digital. Okay? So you guys are so advantaged. So it's upon you to be able to look at what am I passionate about, and how can I be able to actually follow that, my passion. Okay? And if I follow my passion, what can I get from my passion? And I can tell you for sure that if you follow your passion, there's so much opportunity that is in your passion. Okay? If you're so passionate about, let's say, design, clothes, okay? You'll go online, you get to understand the different designs. After that, you can partner with somebody, you design, and then wanna make hizo clothes. And then after that, you probably bought your car machine, you start making your own design clothes. Okay? You're consistent in that path. 1, 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, you're a big thing. Okay? The same thing with, even if it's, let's say, online writing. You can be actually a very good online writer, and people really love your work. You get customers. You start having even people that you've been able to employ. Okay? If you're passionate about gaming, for example, for those who know gaming, you can actually be able to be one of the best gamers in the world. And gamers get a lot of money. Like, those people get a lot of money. If you're passionate about coding, just playing video games, you know, different advanced video games, not just FIFA, but a bit of advanced video games. Okay? Yes. And you find that somebody is just playing video games. You're wondering, hey, kwa nyumba, like, and yet that person is making so much money. If you go to their account, you'd actually be surprised.
I love that job.
Okay? So the same thing, if you're passionate about media, for example, you start making your 2 videos online and all that. And so what I'm trying to say in simple thing is that find what you're passionate about and do it consistently. Do it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Okay? Don't find so many things you're passionate about and then doing small things like, hey, wacha nijaribu music, hii mwaka umejaribu music, unaoneka ingi. Miezi tatu, ai kitu ingi. Wacha ni sinaona wase wana make do sana YouTube. Wacha niende YouTube, umeanza kusema, hey, welcome to my channel, hakuna msana kusubscribe. Okay?
2 views, yako kwa account.
2 views, nini unakuwa discouraged, unasema, hey, mazee naonanga wase wana make do kwa, maybe kwa kuuza manguo. Unaenda huko unajaribu kuuza manguo, unaenda una struggle get manguo. It's not happening. But imagine you could have just stick to your first interest, you build it 1 or 2 years later, you become a big thing. And we've seen even in this industry, even in Kenya, we've seen people who've started, and because, I mean, people like, a good example is Eve Mwingai. Eve, right? You all know Eve, right? Amina Kwanza Kitambo, right? But she was quite consistent in what she does, and right now she's a big name. Right? We've seen so many of them. I mean, that's just one example, but we've seen even in this industry, so many people who actually started small and being consistent. I mean, people like Crazy Kenna, for example. Okay? Right now, the guy is hanging out with the big guys in London, right? It's simply because he didn't do that thing like 1 week, alafu akaacha. He did it consistent. So I think for me, economic empowerment is how consistent can you be able to be in that game. And consistency, always, you have to succeed.
Oh, nice. I don't even think we need to add anything on top of that. Said, find your passion, take initiative, be consistent. Do not forget, find your passion, take initiative, be consistent. Taking initiative is the biggest part of this, of all of this, whether it's in economic development, in political governance and everything. Take that first step. And with that, to culminate this show, this was The Quench, where you ask and we answer with me, Wangeshi Karemi. I'll see you next time.
The Quench, where you ask, we answer.